first weekend of March here in Sequatchie Valley, Tennessee, which means it's time to fire things up for the 2024 Downhill Southeast season. This is the third year in a row the series has opened up here at the Trials Training Center, and this track has become a favorite for many. Being the southernmost venue of the circuit and such an early season race, this is usually a more intimate event. But with the registration sitting right at about 300 racers, including 42 pro men and 12 pro women, 2024 is kicking things off stronger than ever. Let's head up the hill for a quick rundown of this weekend's track.
Hey Sam, hi, can't park there, bro.
As we come into our 9th year of Downhill Southeast, this is our 6th season racing here at the Trials Training Center. In dry conditions, this track absolutely rips. But as anyone who races Downhill Southeast can tell you, TTC is never dry. We're gonna break this course down into 3 segments, starting with the upper, fast but exposed section cutting through the top of the Cumberland Plateau. There's not a lot of technicality to it, but the consequences are high as the mountainside drops steep off the trail. All of this culminates in a very tight move between a tree and the bottom of the cliff band. A hairpin turn left feeds us into the middle and most technical section. Some of the key features in the middle section start with a goalpost move between a couple of trees that feed us right into a rock slab move. Coming off of the slab is actually pretty tricky. You're carrying a lot of speed entering into a pretty tight right-hand turn. This speed carries into a straightaway over a small rock garden into another technical left-hand turn. Coming out of that, you've got a spine move over a slab, into a flat corner, off a small drop. Now while this drop isn't very big, it does land into a hard compression, making it a little bit tricky to retain control and maintain speed into the next straightaway. Coming out of that, you drop back into a steeper section of really tricky off-camber. This feeds into the notorious S-berms. These S-berms are steep and tight, giving lots of riders trouble in previous years. As you exit, the pace picks back up, traversing some off-camber, which feeds into the road gap, landing us into our final segment. And they'll be coming in hot. As you enter into this lower section, the speed continues to pick up, but you've still got your hands full. A series of heavy compressions and tricky corners will keep you on your toes as you battle your way all the way down here to the finish line. Well, it's race day. We're here at the finish line, and I want to introduce our new MC for the 2024 season. This is Griz. Griz, tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
So hey, I'm Sean McClendon, but best known as Griz in the mountain bike world from the mid-school era of downhill racing, and happy to be back as the MC of the Downhill Southeast series moving forward.
Well, Griz, the track has been shaking up, very different from last year. I know you've been talking with some of our racers. Give us a little rundown about how things have developed as we've moved into today's race.
Yeah, so the riders are reporting that they're loving how the track is developing. There's proper brake bumps that are forming. The ruts are developing really well. It's going from wet to dry as opposed to last year it was dry to wet. So, you know, race times are going to be faster. Asa was saying that he wants to hit about a 2:10 in his final. I don't know if that's going to be a course record, but that is a blazing fast time if he hits it.
Well, I'm excited to see how things shake up today. Let's go ahead and kick it over to Will for a rundown of yesterday's seating results.
Thanks, Rich. We'll take a look here at our pro women's results from seating yesterday in what is truly one of our deepest and most talented pro women's fields we have ever seen at SRAM Downhill Southeast. 5th place was Zanna Logar. Just ahead of her sister Zanna Logar, the sisters out of Davis, West Virginia, 4th and 5th respectively. Our winner last year from the Trials Training Center, Abby Ronca out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania for Evolve Racing, this year in 3rd with a 3:10. But it was all Ostgaard sisters at the top of the results sheet, with Taylor Ostgaard putting down a 3:01.6 and Aletha Ostgaard taking the top time in seating with a 2:59.39. And our hot seat rider is Zanna Logar. Drew, as you mentioned, riders faring a bit different today in final. She put down a 3:15 yesterday in seating, But this hot seat time's a 2:53.16, so a solid 6 seconds faster than Aletha Ostgaard, our fastest seated rider from yesterday. And you can already see this very tacky dirt here in the Trials Training Center.
That's right. That very first section right out of the start gate, much quicker to get up to speed out of that today than it was during qualifying.
Well, that's going to be welcome to these racers. There is a little bit of physicality up top as we see Logar here off that rock drop into the outside, but once you get off the top section of this track, it is extremely gravity fed. An area pedal stroke to be seen, and plenty of rock drops and just interesting features for a racetrack.
Yep, and as you can hear, we have a hound dog in the holler. That dog is, his name's Smokey, is our friend Neil's dog, out there to cheer on our racers today. Yeah, as long as these women are keeping each section linked up back to back without having to really check themselves into each independent section, that's the key to consistency on this course today.
Yeah, as we see Zanna Logar diving into the signature steep and deep berm section, kicking up a log right there. It's all natural here at the Trials Training Center, and look at that, a 2:08.71, so that's 4 seconds faster than the fastest split number 2 from yesterday. Logar is on the move this year. She's on that big common saw downhill rig, and wow, looking super comfortable, Drew. It wasn't just but a couple years ago that she wasn't even on a downhill bike. Took her first win at the Downhill Southeast last year at Snowshoe, and Logar, yeah, that 2:53 as we knew the hot seat time. Just incredible. Super impressed with that run.
Yep, that's a very clean run. That's a good example of how to keep it all together and keep these things going back to back.
Well, we'll see what Abby Ronca can put together as she takes to the course next. She is the defending champion from this race last year in 2023. And Abby Ronca is on a brand new program this year. She's on the Evolve Racing team with Evan Medcal, looking to take on the races in the U.S. and internationally.
Yep, good clean start for Abby.
That shot literally is the Cumberland Plateau. The terrain here is just amazing.
It's a beautiful view right above that rock, too.
Well, Abby was third yesterday in our seating session. She put down a 3:10.63.
Again, hitting that notch, super clean. It's definitely a spot where you don't want to have to high side too very much, or you might be dragging a bar against a rock.
And she's right on pace, Drew. 4 seconds back from Zanna Logar, but like we said, that was an incredibly fast time. Abby Ronca's actually on pace with the top seating time from yesterday at split number 2. And you can see she's just keeping great momentum here. Looking very composed, and I mean, these riders are probably extremely stoked to see these conditions improve today.
Yeah, one place that it didn't improve actually was at the bottom of that rock drop that you just saw. It was obscured in the view of the camera there, but a hole did develop at the bottom of that. It was grabbing some wheels.
Well, these ruts are total wheel grabbers as well, as Ronca going to navigate that safely. Kicks the back end out right there, but able to let off the brake. She's pumping some, for some momentum here. Split number 2 pops up at the 2:17. So about 5 seconds slower than what we saw from Ostgaard yesterday, and of course, a good ways back on that run from Zanna Logar.
Yeah, it's really unpredictable how you can lose a few seconds here and there on this course. It's not a super fast course by any means. It's just a lot of technical sections back to back that you have to keep clean.
Well, and Abby Ronca did just that, a clean run for her with a 3:06.15, so 13 seconds back of our hot seat rider. That'll put her into third place with 2 riders left to go. Taylor Ostgaard will be the first of those final 2 riders. She seated second yesterday with a 3:01. She's out of Washington. And Drew, Taylor Ostgaard, I should say, is a rider that might have the most experience in this entire pro women's field as far as high-level racing, but she's still just 19 years old.
That's a fact. And also being from Washington, these kind of damp and steep conditions with janky technical sections should not be strange to her at all.
Yeah, she was pinned into that corner. You could hear the late braking, those tires hooking up. Oh, and a big double right there, Drew. That's on a precarious bench cut, too.
Yeah, you don't have too many inches to the left that you can risk there.
Coming into split number 1, it's a 109.13, so she's right in touch with Zanna Logar. Just a second back. Plenty of track left to go.
Does open up a little bit more here in this lower section. A little bit more speed can be gained there, but it's also a place that if you don't take advantage of it, you probably risk losing more than you could gain.
And I love hearing the sounds of the bike here as they battle the mountain at the Trials Training Center. A really composed sound that I'm hearing from that RockShox suspension setup that Taylor's got on the transition rig as she dives into these steep and deep corners. This is a key section right here. She was in touch with Zanna Logar, and don't see too much wrong right there, Drew. Yeah, it's going to be a clean exit.
That's all you can ask for there. You could risk a little bit more and maybe gain a bunch, but the risk and the rewards there probably have a greater split than in a lot of these other sections.
Yeah, and she's only dropped back just 2 more tenths. That's an inside line. So the 2 riders we've seen so far here in the Pro Women's class have gone outside right there. Taylor trying to shorten that track up as she points it down to the finish line. Has she found any time? That's going to be second. It's a 2:55.31, so she's dropped 6 seconds from yesterday, but she will slot into second place behind Zanna Logar, Drew.
I believe we have one more Ostgaard left to go.
Indeed we do. It is Aletha Ostgaard qualifying yesterday with that 2:59.3, so she's going to have to drop about 6 seconds if she wants to contend for the win here. But if anyone can do it, it will be Aletha Ostgaard. Arguably the fastest woman in the United States right now. Had the fastest time of the day at the Tennessee National last year. Second fastest time of the day at U.S. National Champs, although she was competing in that 15-16 Cat 1 class.
Nothing to critique there in this top section.
Yeah, it's a nice top section just to get into your run and get the flow. This course drops 1,000 vertical. The time might not be that long, but you are covering some serious ground, some very heavy terrain. Split 1. Oh, and she's up there, Drew. She is up by just over a half second. Aletha Ostgaard diving into a race run here at TTC. On another double right there. She's looking extremely confident here and looks to be kind of riding within her limits, Drew.
And right about there's where a hole developed, so she made it through that part very clean.
Yeah, clean would be a word to describe this run up until this point, but this section's going to try to throw you off your game, and it did. That entrance.
Oh no, that's going to cost her there.
I don't know, her and Taylor were super close.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she's
bobble.
back up to pace pretty quickly. No, another bobble. Now she's back by a tenth. Drew, it looked kind of flat coming out of that section where she had to dab a foot.
Well, luckily she was up by a little over a half a second there on the first split. The second split she wasn't behind by but just a little over a tenth, so we'll see how it goes. It's not the worst.
Well, can Aletha Ostgaard get her composure? No! She was not able to gather the composure over to the finish line, and that's going to cost her the win right there. It's going to bump her back to third place. 2:55.6. Wow, that last compression, Drew, takes another victim.
Well, I'll have to say, we saw a couple bobbles there, but she's still on the podium.
And here's your pro women's podium as Zanna Logar for the Gravity Academy stands atop the box here at SRAM Downhill Southeast, round number 1 at Trials Training Center. Second place, Taylor Ostgaard and Aletha Ostgaard rounding out the podium for pro women in third.
I was feeling really good. I really love the conditions. They're my favorite type of mud to ride in. So, yeah, I was feeling strong the whole way, and I made most of my lines. So, yeah, it was fun. It's always fun to, have new competition and new people, new girls to ride with. It's awesome to see the women's category so, stacked. There's usually not this many girls, so it was awesome.
Well, Drew, it is time to jump into our pro men's race here at SRAM Downhill Southeast, round number 1 Your top 5, Tyler Ervin's in 5th out of Alpine, California, 2:25, 11 seconds off the pace of Asa Vermette. Evan Medcal for Evolve Racing going into his first year elite this season with a 2:24. Neko Mulally, the boss man of Frameworks Racing, sitting in 3rd with a 2:23. And Grice lurking right there in 2nd place at 2:18, 4 seconds off the pace set by Frameworks Racing's Asa Vermette. Jack Pederson is dropping into the hot seat right now, currently sitting on top of the standings before we get into our top 8.
Getting it done on that Southern Gravity Racing bike.
Yeah, on that Southern Gravity. Steel is real, and it shows you the depth of the field, Drew, that Jack Pederson is sitting in the hot seat with 8 to go. And look at the pace of this man. He's pre-jumping everything.
Super clean and quick through this section. There's a lot of good straight lines, but you got some good choke points like the notch in the tree there.
So 57.2 for Pederson. That's 3 seconds off the pace of our number 1 seeded rider, Asa Vermette, from yesterday. In much different conditions, Drew. It was pretty darn sloppy in seating.
And still just as sloppy, but just a little bit more tacky, and some nice, good formed ruts that were forced in by all the fluid on the ground yesterday.
We'll see what Jack Pederson can do in the steep and deep section. Had a nice setup right there, trying to cut some of those turns out, and that was on the edge. He's going to make it out of there without dabbing a foot, though. So 5 seconds back there at split 2 from the time we saw from Asa Vermette yesterday. Racing Asa gives Jack a little extra fire. He's a Colorado guy as well, as Pederson is going to cross the line. It's a 2:22.5, so that would have been good enough for 3rd place yesterday, Drew, as we move into our top 8.
All right, here we have Jack Brown from Bishop, Georgia, doing it for Dirt Camp Racing. He's also a Brevard College racer.
Yeah, Jack Brown on his single crown. As you mentioned, Drew, a pro enduro rider. He was the 2021 under-21 champ of the Big Mountain Enduro Series. Took bronze at the 2022 Enduro National Championships. He was on that Yeti factory program, so he really brings some world-class experience to this downhill race today. And he looks so comfortable on this bike. Oh, caught some backside on the back slope of the trail right there. Jack Brown is getting down.
It's about one of the quickest maneuvers through the notch there that I've seen yet.
Yeah, and he's 2 seconds back on Jack Pederson, so that's some good company to be in touch with. As he tries to keep out of that rain rut developing on that section, and man, he is just putting this enduro bike through its paces today.
Yeah, there's certainly some tracks out there that I think the enduro bike, could benefit you from. I don't think this is one of them.
Well, I know Jack Brown's getting ready to give it everything he's got at the Tennessee National Enduro a little bit later this season as he throws it into these ruts. Out of there pretty cleanly, so it'll be some really good training here at the TTC as he gets ready to try and take his first win there at the Tennessee National. He's only lost 1/10 of a second, Drew, to Pederson. He's just thrashing it on the front wheel. Kind of got a little nose bonk there going into the corner.
Nice little slappy turns.
Oh, yeah. And only one compression left. That big Zev fork soaking it up is a 225. So great run right there by Jack Brown. 3 seconds behind Pederson. Well, this guy is certainly an exciting rider to watch on the downhill circuit this year in 2024. Lucas Dedora, riding for Pro Builds Racing out of Huntington Station, New York. Young man had a breakout ride on this track right here last year. Drew with a 5th place in pro, just 16 years of age then. Going into a 17-year age season this year.
Yeah, I think this race last year was an eye-opener for Lucas. I don't think he even believed the results himself when he came to the timing tent and asked us how he did.
Well, that confidence is certainly carried over into his age 17 season. At the end of last year, he took an Eastern States Cup Pro win at Jiminy Peak in Massachusetts, his first Eastern States Cup Pro Class win. And the pace in that left-hand corner was immense. And look at Dedora, he's throwing the bike around into first at split number 1. He's 6/10 up.
Yeah, he's keeping some great momentum on this section of the track here.
Got a sneaky little crank in and very smooth off that drop. Quick to get some backside.
He's definitely got kind of a light style to him. He's not a heavy-handed rider.
Yeah, the technique is beautiful to watch. Stays super high, allowing the bike to drift down, getting those catch ruts. Split number 2 coming up. Oh, and he's up by a full second now. It's 1:43.8. I like what I've seen there, Drew. That was a bit of an inside line gapping in. Showed a ton of commitment into that left-hand corner.
It's one of the few final straight sections there.
Dedora going to cross. Oh, up by 2.4, so he gained some more time to 2:20.09. And that's less than 2 seconds behind the time from Asa yesterday, Drew.
Nicely done. That's our new hot seat holder.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot to take that time down. As we look to our next rider, it's Cole Suetos from Lenoir City, Tennessee. The Californian has come across the Mississippi, calls Tennessee home in the Knoxville area. He's on a brand new team this year, doing it for the Defiant Racing Clan.
Nice and measured approach.
I like that line, Drew. No messing about, straight down the gut.
Jumping over that little rock section there. That's about a bike length and a half section there that if you can get over it and not have to touch the rocks, it's probably the safer way to go.
Well, you can hear the effort Cole's putting in. You hear his breathing there on camera. He's back by just 1 second. So in touch with Lucas Dedora, but you can see the precision in Cole's riding. He's been to the UCI Pump Track World Championships race representing the USA. So he's got skills on all the different disciplines. A couple pro wins as well to his name last year, Drew, in the Fontana Series.
Yeah, you'll love to see it when those California boys start coming east. Oh, no!
Suetos just out the
All right, he's
front
back
door.
up.
That was wild. Thank goodness it's soft right there. But, yeah, Cole not able to get on the anchors like he needed to.
Luckily, it wasn't worse than it is. He's back moving. 9.5 seconds back.
Yeah, he's a young, strong lad, only 22, so it's going to take a lot more than a OTB into some soft mud to slow down Cole Suetos. It's unfortunately not going to be the result he was gunning for today after a 6th-place seeding yesterday. Defiant Racing rider Cole Suetos, he'll put it into 5th place. It's a 2:31 up on the timing board, but he will live to race another day. Plenty more coming in the Southeast for Cole. As we look up to Tyler Ervin, he's out of Alpine, California, 2:25.69 yesterday in seeding. And Drew, you saw this man take a win down in Central America at the Guatemalan Open back in December. He seems to be on good form.
Yeah, he seems to have had a good offseason. Had some good results in Central America there and also at the Costa Rican Open.
Yeah, certainly a rider that's been building momentum, still really young as well. He's 22 years of age. Although that doesn't seem to be young anymore at a domestic downhill race when we've got all these teenagers mixing it up.
Some of us just have to chase our youth on the bike, Will.
Well, he's right there in touch with Jack Pederson. 57.04, just 0.4 of a second back. Oh, and a nice move right there. Just taps the nose ever so slightly over that rock section. Little area for riders to kind of recompose themselves as they look to dive into these turns. Let's see what Ervin can do with them.
That was one of the quicker maneuvers through that section that we've seen a rider do yet so far.
Oh yeah, full commitment, and he's brought back 0.3 of a second. Oh, and his rear wheel drifting out. Does he have a flat, or is it just that loose for Ervin? We'll have to look and see what he can put together on this flat traverse. I think he's got air in those tires.
I think he's safe.
And there's Tyler Ervin. He's going to go second place. It's a 2:21.52, so a really clean run there, Drew. As we look back up to the start hut, it's Evan Medcal, seated in 4th place out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's got his Evolve Racing program going on again this year. Abby Ronca joining the squad there. And, oh, wow, he means business right out of the gate, Drew.
Good to get up to speed nice and quick. Oh, wow.
That could have been so much worse. Cat-like reflexes to bounce onto the trail instead of off that cliff into oblivion. But that's rough.
Yeah, it looks like he's all together, and so is his bike.
Unfortunately, the helmet not going to make it out of here in one piece. That peak is completely split as Evan's going to pull over and compose himself. Don't blame him. Not a place he probably anticipated having that big of a crash.
There he is, visor free, but he's safe, and he will live to race another day.
Well, Evan Medcal rolling through the line. Not what he was looking for today, but plenty more racing coming up. The season is young in 2024. Neko Mulally will be our next rider taken to the track here at the Trials Training Center. Put down a 2:23 yesterday for the owner of Frameworks Racing, the boss, as we like to call him, of Ride Rock Creek and Canoga. He means business here on 2 wheels, and he still wants to show the young guns that he's got it, Drew.
That's right, Dino Pepperoni. He's got to be a mentor to the youth of tomorrow.
Well, looks like Dino slicing up the course here so far in TTC. Neko's keeping it nice and smooth up here. Plenty of time to be gained in these technical sections lower on. Split number 1, it's going to be good for him. He's in the red by just 0.4.
Seeing that he is able to get that Frameworks frame good enough to speed out of each one of these turns.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing here. Some pretty strong composed riding from Mulally with only 2 more riders left to go. Lucas Dedora still hanging on to that hot seat. Oh, and Neko taking it to the edge. He took a pole out.
I'm wondering for how much longer. I think we're going to have to report him to the officials for that, Will.
Yeah, there were some witnesses right there, but I think he kept it in between the tape. Absolutely, as Medcalf's going to let Neko go by. Oh, you love to see the gap into the left-hand turn from Neko Mulally. Had a comeback season last year after that horrific pelvis injury at the Windrock Tennessee National. So Mulally going to break the beam. Can he take over the hot seat? No, he'll go into 3rd place. So he lost quite a bit of time, Drew, between split 2 and the bottom.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds back.
Well, the next rider, Grice, one that is familiar with this terrain, Drew, as he took a win last year. That was a super exciting race that came down just to 0.1 of a second, and that shows you the precision that this man has on his specialized downhill rig.
Yep, this is his race to lose, being the defender of the previous win on this track.
Some trademark Chris Grice pumping right there. Oh, and pulls for a unique double. Hadn't seen that one yet. Certainly a rider that doesn't mind those tight squeezes either.
I think he's unlocked some secrets on this track here.
Yeah, did you see that line going up on the rock? Kept it so far right, and he was 1.3 up at split number 1. He's got to pull out all the stops if he wants to catch up to Asa today. think that was a scrub off the rock drop, Drew. Grice is on a run right here as he slams it into that left-hander.
Yeah, he's definitely grabbing some speed wherever he can find it.
And that was a turn-to-turn gap from Chris Grice. Amazing riding. The steeper it gets, the smoother Grice Crispy is. And he's 3.3 in the green, Drew.
Well, he definitely knows how to win on this track. He's proven it. Looks like he might have another one up his sleeves this year.
Yeah, surely Chris will go into the hot seat here. Over 3 seconds up, it's split number 2. Through that treacherous compression with a good bit of momentum. And it's a 2:17, 2.7 into the green over Lucas Dedora, bumping Dedora back to second place. And that's faster than the time we saw from Asa Vermette yesterday, Drew. And speaking of Asa, here he is. Young rider for Frameworks Racing out of Durango, Colorado. Put down a 2:14. See what he's got in the tank today.
We got the bike up to speed right out of the gate.
Yeah, he's a guy that's hard on the pedals when he takes them. You can see the power wheeling out of that turn. And a master of the scrubs as he gets low on that steep bridge. Split number 1, and he's 1.2 up, Drew. How does this kid continue to put together these smooth, fast runs?
I'm not 100% sure I know what I'm even seeing right now. Lily pad over the rocks. Very well done.
Well, you're seeing a rider and a bike working as one here at the SRAM Downhill Southeast. Asa Vermette, our last rider on course, putting a big chunk of time into Chris Grice. It's split number 1 and a key section right here. Oh, he almost wants to throw it away, but he's on the edge and gets it
foot
back.
Came off.
Wow, that was some committed riding, and he's extended. He's 3.4 into the green. He's obviously put that big moment behind him, Drew.
Just a little bit of this track left here.
Well, Asa Vermette trying to continue his winning ways at SRAM Downhill Southeast. He was 3 seconds up at split number 2. Hadn't seen him put a foot wrong. Surely Vermette will cross fastest, and he does with a 2:11. 5.6 seconds into the green. It almost looked like he wasn't satisfied with that bottom sector, Drew. But Asa Vermette's going to take another win in the pro class at SRAM Downhill Southeast.
As if 5.6 seconds wasn't enough.
Well, here is your podium, folks. Asa Vermette standing on top of the podium at SRAM Downhill Southeast. Chris Grice in second place for Generation S. And Lucas Dedora, he is up on the podium in third place for Pro Builds Racing. Let's go hear from our winner, Asa Vermette for Frameworks.
The track was super fun, a little muddy, but I've never really ridden mud in Colorado, so I was stoked to do it. It was super fun. With everybody here, I was nervous at the top. I was definitely sweating it, but I'm stoked that I was able to lay down a good run. And I can't really race and ride my bike yet in Colorado, so just being able to ride my downhill bike, getting back into the groove of racing before going to Europe for the World Cups, I'm stoked on it. Just like the amount of people that came to TTC, it was going to be a really good year.
That's a wrap for our 2024 season opener here at Downhill Southeast. As always, TTC provided another exciting round of racing. On behalf of myself and the entire Gravity Cooperative, thank you for tuning in and for supporting US Downhill. Registration is now open for the entire series, and you can sign up at downhillsoutheast.com. We'll see you at the next race coming up here at the end of April at the Massanutten Bike Park in Virginia.